There you go, government facility. Guttering off this little roof, down through the pipe, straight into there, there's your tap. On the overflow here, so really should have something to keep it away. It's a bit of mesh, stops the little bugs getting in. And that one there they've just stuck straight in. There may be a bit of mesh somewhere else, like up in the actual guttering itself. Another one which I'm told you never see in the States. Free barbecues. Just press the button and off she goes. It'll give you like 10 minutes and then you just press the button again. It's illegal to possess or sell live red fin. These are the ones, their eggs will stick onto the legs of birds, like heron and stuff like that, and they'll fly to another area. Even, some ponds that are completely fed by bore water, and all of a sudden, bingo, you got these fish. And of course the fish eggs will survive a flight from one area to the other, stuck to the legs of this bird, and re-release themselves when the bird goes back in the water. And they're everywhere. And you can't use live or apparently even dead ones of these as bait. So paranoid about them getting away any further. I mean, they spread into everything, and so they're no bag or size limit. You can have as many as you want. Surprisingly, we've actually got eel here and trout. Well, not salmon. Well, we might have salmon, I don't know, but that's Atlantic salmon. We do have, 3 different kinds of trout: brown trout, rainbow trout, and brook trout. And freshwater yabbies. They're protected. It says bag limit at 200, and another thing around the corner says they're now protected. So, and the old silver perch, there's enough of those around. How is this? Cob. It's probably white clay, pipe clay, over the top of it. She's taken a bit of hammering, but that's a pizza oven. Free for public use. The fish. What's this character here? Platypus. Built into it. She's taken a bit of a hammering though, over time, because she's probably not quite the perfect clay for the pizza oven, but surprised to even see a public pizza oven. I've never seen one publicly before. It's raised garden beds, corrugated iron. I think that's a mint. There's another mint, potato and flour. Can't guarantee that it's either fennel or a weed that we have locally where I live. That looks a lot like fennel, but actually isn't when it goes to flour. Rosemary. It's either spearmint or peppermint, this one. Strawberries. Oh, this is just whacked in by the local government. And I think there's a local group of volunteers who do a lot of this sort of stuff. Maintain it and whatnot. Unfortunately, the wind's going to blow through a lot of this, so I just got to show you a building. Never done this. The wire goes outside, inside, outside, and you got a opposing piece. They try to build one like this around the barn that I've been sleeping in, and most of it's been ripped out by the brother-in-law and sort of half collapsed. Just split pieces of wood, and that's what makes up your planks, all held in by a bit of wire. But never mind that. How's about this? This is much like part of the barn that's just across from us that the neighbour owns. If I get her on this side, I might be able to get out of the wind. This is built in the 1840s, and they've put a bit of money in to restore this. Stop the wabbits getting underneath and making a mess. There's a chicken wire. All sitting up on rocks as your stumps, much the same way as the house. Real nails, proper nails. It's sort of like a log cabin where you've got basically your flat bits cut out and one jammed to the other, bump, bump, sort of tucked under. I think, yeah, we've got a big beam in there, and this piece sort of sat over the top. And this is all just split by hand. A lot of this is the original 1840s style gear. A little latch to keep it all closed. Your shingle roof, which is all just opposing little planks. That is quite remarkable, actually. Sometimes there's some of these around where I live, but they just put corrugated on and they just literally put it on and screwed it over the top. It's a bit of your old corrugated iron, Lizard, Queen's Head there, or something like that. Yeah, Queen's Head is, that says Australia. Holy cow. Holy smoke. Old school lock. Of course, the gutter's a new addition, obviously. Upright slabs. Sort of chonked in a bit at the bottom. This would take a tremendous amount of wood to build something like this. I mean, it'd be a little bit heavy putting it together. But this is a building. I tell you what, this is a building. The sheer size of the roof here. Oh, you flaming rippers. You little rippers. This is exactly what I've been wanting to show for a long time. You bloody ripper. Old school grindstone. That one's... Usually they have a bit of mortar in there to help hold it all together. And they crank by hand. A handle on the end there, or grab hold of this or whatever. She's all mounted on like what looks like a giant sawhorse, and you get this spinning by hand, and then you come up with your axe or your knife, and you just... And because of the size of the stone, once you get it spinning, it's like a flywheel. You got a lot of mass, kinetic energy, you know, held in all this mass of the stone. So it's sort of like you give it a few cranks, and then you give you know, you got like 30 seconds or a minute or whatever, and then it'll slow down, so you start cranking it again and then keep going. And you don't have to keep cranking it, you just sort of keep, you know, crank it every minute or so, so you get a bit of time to sharpen one knife, and then you speed it up again, and then off you go again. And this is brilliant, and I'll be taking home a small one of these stones. My father's got another small one which has sort of been ground out on an angle just by the way they've always come in from one side or whatever, but that one is actually full-size stone, and that is really seen. Sorry for the flaming wind noise. Quite possibly a lot of the mortar here is probably just sand mixed with lime, and if you get limestone and you burn limestone, you can make the right sort of lime that you mix with the sand and then use as mortar. And not too far from where I live, well, it's a little bit of a drive, they used to get limestone from cliffs by the sea and then deliberately burn it to make lime that they could then use for mortar in their stone buildings. And that was a going industry, full-on going industry back in the 1800s, which isn't a great deal of distance from where my mum grew up. And that's, you know, pretty much limestone, burn it, gives you the lime, and, you know, of course it's all crushed and dried out, mix it in with the sand, and that's your mortar, mix that up and bang. And of course you've got to have a couple of slaves lifting those, or somebody who's hard up on their luck who really needs a dollar to be lifting rocks like this into place, they probably would have used crowbars and planks of wood and maybe even horses, you know. It's, shit, this is a decent sized building too. There we go, right to the top. All used as stone, right to the top. I don't know if this is open to the public, probably not. Sometimes they open things like this on the weekends, but yeah, this is a ripple one, and this is one of the originals from the 1840s. Let's see if we can nose in the top here. I can't see a great deal in there, obviously. Yeah, I'll tell you what, it was worth coming to this one. Alright, peoples, there you go. The real deal. While we're here, I might as well show a few of the other implements they got, aside from just the old grindstone. I've seen stuff like this around before today. I think I've shown stuff like this previously in another video. Hang your weight on here. Old horse gets into the U-bolt at the front there, and that's your ripper. This big cast iron thing, and that front piece will actually wear out over time. And here would be another one that was a whole shitload more serious. Some of the bits I've found for sewing onions around my place are sort of bits like this, and you've got a frame that you hook it onto, but then there's parts that you could buy as individual replacements because they wear down by the ground rubbing against them, and you'd literally wear them out and have to buy more ones, And yeah, I've never seen, well, there's one that I've shown that my grandfather owned a seeder, but the bigger onion seeders, I've never really seen one completely full, aside from this little hand push thing that just drops the seed in the hole but doesn't actually plough it up full on like this. But there's bits of things like this left at my place, and my father's obviously seen them in operation firsthand when he was a kid. And this wind is annoying the crap out of me. I hope you can actually hear me. We got a wheel off one of these that come off one that was actually owned by my dad's uncle, and he used to remember stuff like this rolling down the road back in the 50s. Well, literally load it up with the hay or whatever and hook the horse up and off they go. And yeah, it's sort of, the hubs are sort of like a taper on the inside, and you get like an opposing cup sort of thing with your then another piece with your pin on the end, so you can take the pin out, flip that piece out, and the whole lot just slides out. And that's your old school park brakes on them, whatnot. Not quite certain how exactly they work, but I think some of them will hook to a pivoting lever or something. I don't have that much of a look very often at carts, but yeah, I mean, this stuff was, stuff exactly the same as this was in use right up until the 50s, when my father can remember them being in use. You know, showed you that already. Let's see what else we got. Water cartage, I believe. Yep, it would be water cartage. Water tank, old style rivets. I used to put them in red hot as like a bit of rod, and then they'd hammer from either side, and they'd flatten out. And that was used on, bloody everything. The Titanic, the whole lot. There's lots of things that they use those quote-unquote rivets, but they'd put them in seriously hot, and then you'd have two guys hammering from either side, and it'd pin it closed. And that'd hold water. And, you know, if you're really worried, well, you just put solder and solder it all together. And sometimes they just use straight lead. Your old two-wheel cart there. Oh, that is a part of a fence still sitting here, I think. And this is quite likely to be a chaff cutter. The bent tool. Haybridge, Melbourne, England. That would be where your crank handle goes. Yes. Chaff cutter. And, oh, you feed it in one way or the other. This arrangement that may actually have been a mount for a blade, because it's got all basically bolts in there. I don't know, maybe there was a blade that come through there and you fed it in this side and she chewed it up and sliced it up as one guy was winding and the other guy was feeding in or whatever. Let's see if I can... There's a few cogs. And a whole lot more cogs. Yeah, still with grease on them. Cover back on. Oh, we stuffed. This may very well have been used in making roads because there's a watering holes on the back of this. That's quite surprising. This would have somehow hooked from... there probably would have been a tap there before that rotted out, and you'd somehow hook onto there and then just flick the tap on and you just sort of drizzle out there and water the road. The process of making roads, it's the only reason why there'd be any pipe with holes in the back. Not just water cartage, but road making. And this seems to be about it. Alrighty, washed my hands. I've been going through the arduous process of pulling the skins off and the seeds out, and it takes a long time. There's a $20, or there's about 3 or 4 different brands at least, of $20 food mills, which are basically like a circular disc that's got like a set... It's a stainless steel disc with holes in it. But you've got 3 different sizes of holes for 3 different discs. You click them in, you've got a handle, and then you've got like 2 paddles, almost like a propeller, but really flat paddles. And you just feed your food in, and it keeps turning, and the paddles will just squeeze it through the bloomin'... What's his name? Squeeze it through the holes in the stainless steel. These things will come in 3 different sizes. They'll be $18, $22, whatever. And that's one way to sort of break up the pulpiness of all this. But anyway, we're going to cook it a bit, which will kill any bacteria and also break up the pulpiness. And there we go. Off we go. And you can ignore the motorbox in the background. Away again. Alrighty, peoples. Well, it's about time we give this Oregon grape, or Oregon holly grape, or grape holly, however you want to say it, a bit of a go. Apparently, these are tart. These are bitter beyond belief, but edible, but not too bad if you make a jelly, which essentially is like a jam out of them. And you need a lot of sugar, apparently. Give these a shot. I'm advised that you don't eat any more than a few without just about shitting your pants with the shock of the flavour. So, without further ado, you're going to have to see me eat these. Bloody wimps. That was fine. Oh, they're so tart, your eyebrows will raise up, you'll be having trouble. That was fine. High in vitamin C, apparently, because of the tart flavour. That's what a lot of the vitamin C is. That's fine. Let's stuff this. Let's keep eating. Don't overdo it on my first try because I might shit myself. I'm not used to them. Peacock seems to think they're alright too. Maybe because they're ripe, they're just not as ridiculously tart. Oh, I wish the wind didn't blow when I was trying to tell you guys things. These are fine. Oh, you must have some wimps there if they can't handle eating these things. These aren't as bad as an unripe plum. Unripe plums are probably 3 times as bad. Maybe shouldn't be eating the stems. Chook's picking through the horse shit. I thought I could smell something weird. Harden up. Geez, there'll be none left for the peacock at the rate I'm going here. That's pretty good, actually. Some of them a little bit wilty. I reckon they attract birds. Seem to have attracted me too. There's the odd one that's green in this. Yeah, I'm squishing them. Alright, you know, I sit here all day and watch me eating Oregon grapes. Sorry, bud, I'm stealing all your Oregon grapes. I know you like them, but so do I. Disturb all the white cockies out of the blooming apple tree here. We're not looking at the apple tree now. What I want to show you is this thing. Apparently these are perfectly edible. According to a Russian compatriot, nice little Russian girlie, says in Russia they pick these, you can't eat them raw, you got to cook them. But once you cook them, you can eat them. Now some of you Europeans, I know I've got a couple of French viewers, may know what that is, or what these are called. If you do, just tell me what these orange berried things are. Down in the comments. My sister did know the name, but she's forgotten. But I don't think we're going to cook any up, and if you're not supposed to eat them raw, well, I'm not going to eat them raw until I know exactly what they are, and then I can Google them and have a good look in Wikipedia or whatever, and understand them a little better. There we go. The first one I dug up was bloody dismal. Great big dock leaves, and your carrot. These are actually shockingly dismal compared to what I'm used to seeing back home. They're not much of a carrot at all. I've seen ones, plants ain't much bigger than this, and the carrot has been literally that wide. Like I'm talking just about 1.5 inches wide. Yes. I may continue digging some of these other ones that have gone to seed and see if we get any better results. I thought I'd come down here near the river where the ground is looser. It's and it's not even that orangey yellow colour. It looks more like a bloody parsnip, actually. Maybe they won't be dying close out of these ones, but my ones somehow do. I don't know if it's the rich soil. I don't know if it's a slightly different variety. You know, one might be common dock, the other might be curly leaf. I think there's more varieties than that of dock, to be honest. I think there's about more than 5 varieties, but this ain't the one that you'd be using to dye stuff, especially not if it's white. I'm always shadowing these things, aren't I? I'm starting to realise that now. So we got a bit better, 3rd time lucky. I still would have got better at home. There's your big carrots. And white on the inside of it again. I mean, you look at them and you think, I could peel that and boil it up. Yeah, don't try because you'll be pretty flaming sick. See if I can belt that in half with a shovel. Shit, hang on. Can't really do this with my left hand. Take a swing at it again. There we go. Cut a chunk off there. Yeah, still just looks like any other root. Yeah, not as good as I would have thought. I'll take up the remains and show my sister anyway. She will be interested to see these giant roots. And I'll get, a lot better than that at home. Don't get as big of leaves as they do here, probably only half-size leaves, but then I get double the size, 3 times the size carrots on the bottom. Okay, we've got 2 eggs here, the same chook abandoned from the same nest, it's just left to go cold. My sister said I'd love to crack them open and see if there's chicks in there. And that stone you can see on the leg is plumb there, so don't worry. Anyways, she said, how do we know if there's chicks in there without cracking them open? Candle lighting. So, just sit one of the eggs elsewhere. We'll start with a non-speckled one. And we probably should be in a dark room. But if we can see an embryo of some sort, we might be... Oh, I can't see a damn thing. Clear. Yeah, it looks perfectly clear. The other one is to get a laser beam and point it at the very end of the, what's his name? Ooh, it might be a little bit too dense to even get the light. The other thing is we probably should be in a room that's very dark, and we are not in a dark room. So maybe we shall have to improvise in that method. Do we have a laser beam of any sort? No. What about some of that fandangle equipment that he's got for levelling and stuff like that? I don't know. Yeah, we'll have a look. Well, we've found a dark cupboard, and this is about the best we're getting. I don't think there is much in here at all. I'm not seeing a damn thing. Fortunately, the end of the torch actually has like a little hollow bit where the LED is, as in the LED set back in the torch with no plastic or lens in the way, and so you can more or less sit the egg directly on top of it like a blooming egg cup. And I mean, I'm turning this every which way, and I'm not seeing any sign of any dark patches or anything. The other one had a sign of like the yolk floating around or an air patch, and as you'd turn it, you'd see it slowly but surely sort of go to the other side. It may actually be rotten, the other one. Now, as far as I'm concerned, that's about it. I'm not saying anything with this LED lighting, as opposed to candle lighting. Have a look at this crap. We're pretty certain it might be rotten inside, and that there is liquid. That's right. It's just all slopping around inside. There's no embryo. It would sort of, you would see veins and dark patches, and we ain't seen nothing, and we may try and open this one and stand back and hold our nose. I've had ones where there's stuff inside, you can actually hear rattling, and it turns out it's gone rotten and dried inside. So, well, here's a float test in action. Stick it in the water, and if it sits in the bottom, you're probably alright. If it starts to float towards the top, or if it actually floats on the top, then she's most likely rotten. Yeah, I'm going to spill the water everywhere because I'm so unprofessional. He's probably rotten. Oh, and that is definitely up shit creek in a barbed wire canoe. That's not even going under. No, I'm not making Chinese 100-year-old eggs. I've been instructed if this is rotten to bury it. So anyway, I'll give it a little poke with a shovel. I'll see how it goes. Tell you how it smells. Oh yeah, there may have been an embryo in there. Oh yeah, it smells bad. Well, obviously this one's been left to get too hot or too cold, and the embryo, or what was that little blood lump there, obviously hasn't made the cut, as didn't most of the eggs that one has laid in its first batch. That's disgusting. I'm going to wash it off my fingers and cover it over. There we go. Fat hen or lamb's quarters. Your last few leaves look sort of whiter than the rest, and that's the calcium crystals on them. There's a nightshade there and some other stuff I don't know. Yeah. Fat hen or lamb's quarters, we call it fat hen generally here. Ones in the vineyard will be waist height. My father used to spray these to kill them, and they're perfectly edible. It was a vegetable in medieval times, and that scraggly looking thing you can barely see in the shade there, that was a silver beet that the chooks tore the shit through. Yummy! This is what we call yabbies, or technically, if you're American, they might be crawfish. And obviously some have existed. And this here dam, there's something else I probably might not be supposed to show you, but I'm going to show you anyway. Brother-in-law has had a few issues with rabbits. I think that one's, yeah, pin in the ground there. This is smaller than most, quite a lot smaller than the old style ones, but exactly how you're supposed to get these down generally. This is one of the legal traps, the animal rights people approved trap. It's a rubber either side, and yeah, your little tab in the bottom like the old style ones. But all the spring is sort of all built in, as opposed to being a great big leaf spring that comes out the back like the old ones do. But yeah, little pad there to stand on. These are around $35 each. I got a less than lethal trap that didn't work worth a shit, and basically they also sold these, but didn't have any in stock at the time because it was at a show. It sold out, and they're $35 each. It's got a little swivel on them so that the thing doesn't, you know, stuff your chain up or manage to pull it out just by swirling round and round in circles. It just keeps swiveling around. He's got another one. Oh jeez, you want a bit of a better chain than that, but anyway. Another one there. The circular tab as opposed to a square one. Looks slightly smaller, and has indeed done its job at one point. Groovy. Well, for my efforts, I've got 2 of those plastic doovers. I just cut them in half, and I'll wrap them up, and or roll them up rather, and put them in a Ziploc bag, and they probably won't last long at all.